Hey beautiful people, welcome to the part 3 of our jollof rice series where I share useful tips to achieving the best tasting jollof rice every single time. In today's episode, our focus is on the stew base. Now for the sake of this video, we'll explore the roasting method and I'll tell you why we're using this method. I'll also touch on the best spoon to use for jollof rice making and why. How and when to know your tomato paste is ready, and how to fry the stew base, and the technique that helps me reduce oil usage in the frying process, and so much more. Now let's dive right in. In our first episode, I talked about my reason for opting for a non-tomato based sauce, and I also touched on the ratio guide I use for my base. If you haven't seen that episode, please do so before attempting this step. Wash, clean, and deseed the bell peppers and tatashe. It is important for you to know that the local tatashe seeds can leave an awful bitter taste in your stew base that never goes away no matter what you do. So please deseed them completely. But you can leave the shombo whole. The thing is, unlike the local tatashe, the shombo seeds become bitter as they first hit the hot oil as they first heat up, but then it mellows down and then turns sweet the longer you cook it. It's also important for you to know that when I use the word sweet, I don't mean sugar sweet. I just mean like sweets, like savory sweets. I don't know if that makes sense, but not sugar sweet, not honey sweet, but just savory sweet. Okay, why the roasting method? I find that I get better tasting base when I roast my peppers. Roasting the pepper mix helps to intensify the smoky flavor of the stew base. So I personally highly recommend smoking your pepper mix, especially for those who use non-stick pots or pans to cook. Because this helps to add that smoky flavor or a bit of it that you don't get when you use like a stainless steel pot or those tower aluminium kind of pots that people use for jollof rice. Anyway, for the scotch bonnet peppers, please, if you are concerned about the level of heat and you don't want your food to be too spicy, you can leave just one whole and deseed the others. Aside the seed, scotch bonnet pepper has a sweet flavor profile, so you can deseed it, try to remove the membranes, which are the white ones, and then just add them there. So into the pan, add your bell peppers, your shombo, your scotch bonnet peppers, tatashe, onion, and fresh thyme. Please, if you do not have fresh thyme, do not use dried thyme for this. If you use dry thyme, what happens to the dry thyme is that it dries it out further and makes it lose its flavor. So please, it's either you're using fresh thyme or you don't use thyme at all for this roasting method. Now, once I add everything to the pan, I like to season it with salt and black pepper. I like to, start to season and build flavors early. And then I drizzle a good amount of oil just to prevent it from burning too quickly, while roasting. And, the oil also helps to start the cooking process as well. So what I usually do is I roast this on low heat for about 30 to 40 minutes and that will do. Now look at how gorgeous that is. I typically roast this on low heat for about 30 to 40 minutes, but I bring it out on intervals to, move it around and turn it, so that all the, corners and areas get that char that I need, or, just cooks down. Most people would ask you to take out, this layer, the outer layer of the bell pepper. But I say leave it. I personally love seeing the tiny dark specks in my stew base, when I'm done blending it. It just reminds me of the freckles I once begged God for as a child, but I never got. Anyways, this part, adds a level of smoky feel to your stew base. So don't take it out, leave it, blend it, together. Add everything to a blender and go to town with it. blend it. One of the benefits of roasting peppers is that it reduces the moisture in the pepper mix and then helps to cut down on your cooking time. What does this mean? This means that the roasting process kind of zaps the water content from the peppers and the onion, while it is roasting, while it's still cooking it down. Meaning that after roasting it and you blend it, you don't have to boil it after blending it. It's good to go. You can also roast your mix without an oven. Please let me know if you want to see a video of how to do this. So there's a trick to blending your pepper mix after roasting. So here's a trick. I like to add the tatashe and pepper at the base of the blender, or I add the softest item at the base of the blender and blend it. The softest item, once it hits the blade of the blender, it just starts to puree and bring out more liquid and all. It just helps to start the blending process. Also, there's always a liquid found in the tray that you use to roast your pepper mix. You can pour that into your blender and use that to blend. Also, if you don't have leftover liquid at the base of your roasting pan, you can use a combination of oil and water. Please use very small quantity because we're really trying to cut down on the amount of liquid that is used or that we have in our pepper mix. Then after blending the mix, it kind of looks like it's been parboiled already. As it is now, it is ready to use. You can use this as a dipping sauce. You can use this for pasta. You can even use this to make stew. And moving along, into a pot, add 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. Then introduce the tomato paste. Here I am using a combination of Gino paste and Derica paste. Remember I said that in my first in the first episode. Now fry this on low heat. It is important that we fry our mix on low heat. Low heat. We're not rushing anywhere. Nobody's chasing us. This will take about 10 to 15 minutes because we're using Derica. Now, how do you know that your paste is ready? I know that I've told you 10 to 15 minutes, but how do you really know that your paste is ready? You know that your paste is ready when it starts to look like tiny beads or more like pebbles or seeds. When it starts looking like this, that's when you know it is ready. So even when I get it to this point, I still like to give it a minute or two more. Just an extended frying grease. So when you get it to this point, it's time to add your blended pepper mix. Now, once you do this, please, I know some of you will be tempted to rinse your blender and add the water to the pot. Please don't. Please, I'm begging you in the name of the Lord, don't. Now, you can rinse your blender and add the liquid to your meat stock, but do not add it to this pot. I'm begging you in the name of the Lord. Now that we've gotten to this part, now we've added our pepper mix to the pot. There are 4 things that you need to abide by: low heat, wooden spoon, splatter guard, and consistent turning. Remember, we're not using firewood, but we want to get that firewood flavor or the consistency at least, but using a stovetop. So, now if by now you don't have a dedicated wooden spoon for your jollof rice, please go to the market and buy one, or pick out one from your kitchen and dedicate it to jollof rice, because there is no jollof without wooden spoon. Please. And a dedicated one adds flavor to the stew base, please. Think of it as cast iron. They are always seasoned, and every time you cook something using a cast iron, it adds flavor to it. So consider your wooden spoon. Think of your dedicated wooden spoon for your jollof rice as a cast iron pot. Just look for one that you will dedicate to jollof rice. Now, this process takes a lot of time, I won't lie, but it's worth it. It's always worth it to push that limit, to just keep frying on low heat. It's always worth it. Listen, I know that at this stage, you'll be tempted to add more oil here, but just don't. Just keep stirring and don't allow it to burn. Like I said, low heat is your friend. Make low heat your friend. If you leave this thing unattended, it will burn. So please do not leave it unattended. I'm begging you. So the key is consistently turning it every minute, consistently. Before you know what's happening, time will pass by. Just keep turning it and turning it and turning it. It's important to know that I use more fresh thyme than I use. I said that in my first video. I use more fresh thyme than I use dry thyme. There is a flavor that fresh thyme gives your jollof rice, and also it's also important to note that I do not take it out of the stalk. I drop it, stalk and everything. It is absolutely amazing. You need to try it. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it. You need to try it. Then after 5 to 10 minutes of consistent frying and turning, introduce the spices. The fresh thyme, the curry, the dry thyme, the seasoning cube. You people know I already talked about my North seasoning cube. I love it. 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 I cannot tell you how much I love using my North beef seasoning cube to make jollof rice. So yeah. Another reason why you don't need to top this base with oil is that the spices help to extract the oil from the base. After you add it and stir it for like 5 to 10 minutes, the oil starts to separate from the stew base. But another trick that I like to do is I like to, sprinkle a little bit of, salt to my stew base. Just sprinkle a little bit of it just to get it going, and all. So I'd say you really don't need to add a lot of oil to fry your base. Just be patient and give it a lot of love and use the right techniques and tricks, and you'll be able to get it to move from the boiling method to the frying method in no time. Now I season with salt and I combine and stir. But let me also say this, that even after you add your seasoning and your salt and everything, and the oil doesn't separate after 5 to 10 minutes, and you still have that itch to add oil, please add little by little. Just drizzle it little by little. Don't just go and pour it there. Just add it little by little. Continue to go at it, keep frying, keep using your splatter guard to cover. The reason why I'm very keen on people using splatter guard is because I know we want to cook, but we also want to leave our surface and our kitchen clean. So the splatter guard kind of, helps to prevent the oil from splattering everywhere. So yeah, the stew base, takes about 40 to an hour to fry, to get it to that right texture, to get it to that right thickness, to get it to that right fried place. I don't know what else to describe. I don't know what else to call it, but it takes a long time to get it to that thickness that you need. That's firewood kind of fried stew. So it takes a lot. Remember, we're trying to replicate what we get on firewood, but then using a stovetop. So fry it a little, cover with a splatter guard, stir a little, cover with a splatter guard, stir a little, cover with a splatter guard. Continue to do this. Sometimes you even think that it has gotten to that deep dark red color. You need to push it further. Even when you think that you have gotten there, push it a little bit further until you get that deep. It would almost look like it's burnt, but it's not burnt. That's actually the flavor that you need. That's actually the point that you need to get your sauce to. So keep frying, keep pushing that limit, just keep frying it. It takes a long time, but what you really need is a lot of patience, a lot of love. Just keep going until you get that dark red color that you need. And once you get it to this point, your jollof base is ready. Let me tell you, the smoky flavor will not if you decide to make your jollof rice smoky, it no go take. Do you understand? But this will get you the best tasting jollof rice that you'll ever I promise you, ever have. You know, it will get you the best tasting jollof rice. Anyway, so that's it for our tomato stew base. I hope I was able to, give a deep dive into, how to fry the tomato stew base, what to do, what not to do. I hope I was able to cover all that for you. If you still have questions, please don't forget to hit me up. Write me, leave me your questions in the comments below, or you can send me a DM on my Instagram page, which is Kitchen Freak Girl on Instagram. You can send me a DM, and I always, I'm quick to respond to questions and DMs and comments. Please leave me those comments, leave me those questions, and I will come back to you with a response. Okay, so that's it. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Let me just say this. You don't want to miss tomorrow. There is a trick, a technique that I use for jollof rice that you will need. I promise you, you don't want to miss tomorrow. So please come back here for our fourth and our final episode on our jollof rice series. It will blow your mind. This trick will blow your mind. I promise you. While making this video, I had someone, a friend of mine who was there, and she saw me making the video, and then she just kept, when she saw the trick, she just kept, oh, you what? And I was like, oh yes. She went home, she tried it, she called me on the phone. She said that her entire family, her mom, her brothers, everybody has been raving about that particular jollof rice, and she just told them that there was just something she learned new that she tried, and that's what has given it, the difference in taste and flavor, and the outcome of the jollof rice. So yes, you need to stick around, and if you're a caterer, I have one or two tips for you. So please stick around, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you join me here tomorrow. And until next time, you guys know I love you, munchos.